Hey everybody, Michael here. Today we're going to do a little bit of wine tasting and a little bit of wine drinking, and that's an important distinction. I want to be able to test a couple of hypotheses that I have about wine, and I want to talk a little bit about what even wine drinking involves. So let's get started. First of all, I completely understand a lot of people don't have any interest in wine. In fact, I once had a friend tell a group of us, "Oh, you're still talking about wine?" I tuned out the minute you started. So, and I get that. So, not everybody has their thing for wine, but in my case, it's something to enjoy. It's something just to have fun with. And uh, truth be told, I have drunk quite a bit of wine. And because I have a pretty good taste memory, I can point to wines that I want for a particular experience. Now, that leads me to another point, which is tasting versus drinking wine. Tasting is all about coming to some kind of understanding about expectations for the experience you want to have. Tasting itself should be very perfunctory. There are tons of videos on how to taste. You should taste lots of wine, and it's not about getting drunk. Just taste and have the experience. And there are ways to do it where you get a full exposure, a full range of wines, and great opportunities to compare. But to taste and to compare and to expect what? That's the point. Today we're going to taste two different wines for which I already have some expectations. When you taste a lot of wine, you're building expectations. I already have tasted these wines at one point years ago. And so I have some expectation about the experience I'm about to have. And in this case, we're also going to test the hypothesis that price matters. And what goes into price? Well, a lot of things. Essentially, it's the care, it's the professionalism, it's the winemaker's aesthetic. Tons of things go into price, and price should also help you set expectations. So today we're going to have a little fun. We're going to taste two Pinot Noirs. Pinot Noir is a grape that's grown in many parts of the world. In our case today, these two Pinot Noirs were grown in Oregon from relatively near each other. One is Bergstrom and one is Fossil Block. Now, I happen to know that Bergstrom makes very good wines. Why? Because I tasted them and I have subsequently had numerous bottles of Bergstrom from different years, and they've all been very good. Fossil Block, on the other hand, I have only tasted once, maybe twice, and I have not had many bottles of it over time. But I bought a couple of bottles a few years ago, and I thought, well, I'll see how it ages in my cellar. So in one case, we have Bergstrom, which is an Oregon Pinot Noir, and it is a 2015. And the Bergstrom guys go to great lengths to talk about the actual vineyard from which it's grown and all that kind of thing. And then the Fossil Block, on the other hand, we just have a general Pinot Noir from the Willamette Valley. And this is a 2017. So a year apart, that may influence the experience. But I should also tell you that the Fossil Block is, let's say, $20. And the Bergstrom is, well, today it's probably more because wines tend to age with appreciation of price. So this is probably over $100 now. And so one is 5 times as expensive as the other. Should it be 5 times more delicious? We'll see. And to put this taste test to the test, I have asked my kind assistant to pour a little bit of each wine in 2 different glasses. I don't know which is which. They look pretty darn similar. Excuse me. They're not thick, they're not inky, but they're not light reds. They're medium-bodied by appearance. And then they don't have that gras, as they say, that white wines have. This one has a little bit of it. Interesting. The gras is the sort of residue that seems to form as you swirl it. So what we're going to look for is just, are they good? And things that I look for in a good wine is ease of drinking, deliciousness. Does it have that acidity? I happen to like acidity. It's where it sort of jumps off your palate. It's not just flat, dead on the palate. And I'm not a huge fan of lots of tannins. I don't need a chewy wine. It can be chewy, can be tannic, but for me, that's not the most important experience. And then the final thing I'd like to point out is that not all wines are meant to be drunk alone, as an aperitif, for instance. So I have a little bit of bread here to give each wine a fighting chance in case it doesn't come off well alone. I also have a little salt and goat cheese just in case further assistance is needed to enjoy a particular wine. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can tell which is which. This one, I can already tell. It has a much more profound nose. It's really delicious smelling. This one wasn't bad, but it sort of is short. It doesn't have any lingering, interesting notes. Let's give it a shot. That's nice. It's actually not bad. There is that astringency, so that means it still has some of the tannins. And that the tannin astringency experience will be allayed with bread. So, I'm not going to hold that completely against the wine. In fact, I'm going to have just a little tiny piece of bread and take another little sip. Not bad, but I have to admit, not great. And I suspect, I don't know. In fact, I will not know until I pour again from the direct bottles. But I suspect this is the fossil block. Let's move to our second wine, which is a little bit darker colored. It has that deeper, richer smell. Both wines I opened almost an hour ago to give them, again, a fighting chance for oxidation. Wow, now that's a good wine. This one stands alone quite well. Very, very light on the tannins, almost no astringency. Little bit of acid, not lots of acid, which is interesting, but that's fine. It's quite delicious. A lot of fruit, uh, but that is a really good wine. And again, it's not about the tasting, it's about the experience. We want this experience to be great. So let's have a little bread with this one. Wow, that is a good wine. All right, so it's pretty clear that this is the Bergstrom and this is the fossil block. Now, the fossil block wasn't bad. Is the Bergstrom 5 times better? No. Is it better enough that if I had the money, I'd go back and pay $100 for it? Yes. Do I want? Here's the other thing I want to consider. For $20, I may be able to get a better wine. So it's not about getting fossil block. They're doing themselves an injustice by making a little bit inferior wine because there are a lot of wines at the $20 to $30 to $35 level that will be as good, if not better, than fossil block. but it's not bad. So I think that category of wine is pretty well established. You can get that almost anywhere. But tonight, I think I'm going to spend time enjoying the Bergstrom. Thank you.